what would your tactics be? And usually somebody says, taking a bus out of here, going to Florida. Thank you very much. And then,
Actually, it's a two-part question. How late in the year can you burn? And the other thing is, what is the ideal temperature and wind conditions?
so the question is, how late in the year can we burn? And what's the ideal temperature and wind conditions? So there's two answers to that. One is that we get a permit. We have to have a permit through DEP to burn. And the essential part of that is that if we're going to put smoke in the air, we better be doing it for a good reason. And we got to manage that smoke. So they start measuring ozone May 1st. Our burn permit for the southeast goes to June 15th. And then we shut down for any large burns. However, because we've worked very well with them, in the last couple of years, they're allowing us to do small 15 to 20 acre burn units on days where we get good ventilation rates and we get good smoke dispersion. So we will burn if we get a chance to in the summer. Why would we want to do that? Because we get different fire effects. We would love to do more burning in growing season conditions because we think we could set the scrub oak back just a little bit more than we do and probably not have to come back in with the frequency than we want to. But we don't get it. I mean, we don't get a lot of opportunities in the summer to burn. And again, smoke dispersion, smoke management is a huge deal for us. If we smoke out your neighborhood down the road, we're not doing ourselves any favor, and you aren't going to want us to continue the program.
Well, I guess the reason I ask that is because I've traveled down to South Carolina, down that way, and of course the vegetation is different, but
Yep.
they still seem to do a lot of controlled burns at night.
Right, yeah, so we would love to do that, and we may get there. You never know.
Only because I think the fires burn along around a lot better. And you
Right.
don't get the treetop
Yeah.
fires.
So we don't get a lot of evenings where we get good vent rates, but every once in a while, we actually tracked this a few years ago, one summer, where we found that we actually had about a dozen night times where we were burning during the day, and we could have probably run those fires into the evening. And then you've got cooler temps, and you can get away with a lot more aggressive ignition patterns than you do in the daytime. So your question on temperature and wind is, it depends on the unit, it depends on the fuels. So they all come together. And when we're looking at scrub oak up to 6 feet, 8 feet tall, you're probably not going to see us burning on 80-degree days where we haven't had rain in a week and it's 30% humidity, because the humidity has a huge part of it as well. So all of those factors that I showed you in those slides, it's not one in particular that dictates whether it's a go or no-go for a burn. They all have to come together. And actually, we've had 2 no-goes in the last 2 weeks. Yesterday, we were going to burn in Freetown, and we called that off because the heavy fuels are just so dry that we don't really want those to burn and create more of a smoke volume than we need to. So it's dependent. And for us, on the wind issue, it's kind of interesting. If you're with me out there and I'm running ignitions, and our burn boss say the same thing, I'll burn all day long in a steady 10 to 15 mile an hour wind. I would rather do that than burn on those days where it's light and variable. Because in scrub oak fuels like this, once that wind goes slack, if you have a 15 mile an hour wind, I know exactly what that fire's doing all the time. It's steady, it's being influenced heavily by the wind, and I can tame that sucker and just go all day long. Once it goes light and variable, the fire stands up, and now it goes in the opposite direction because it's going to be influenced by the fuel type rather than by the winds. And then usually it flops back and forth and goes light and variable, and then that thing goes all over on it. So we might have days where we don't have enough wind to burn to maintain that kind of command and control.
So you would do a backfire. I think in '57, I remember the fire barely, but it was scary.
Yeah.
And we could have lost all of the cottages up around Boonton South Pond, but they built a backfire, is that what you call it, to control it?
Yeah, so
And that
burnout.
stopped it.
Yeah, so a
You'd have
burnout
lost
operation.
almost no houses,
Right,
like nothing.
yeah,
Except 6 I saw there, but
Yeah.
there were lots of cottages. It was coming towards town.
right,
I could see it coming down the road by exit 5.
right. Yeah, so one of our tactics out there in wildland firefighting is doing burnout operations, and that's simply just burning the fuel out in front of the fire. And so right now in Fort McHenry, out there in Alberta, you know, that's what they're doing on a large scale, just trying to burn off fuel in front of
Ahead of
it.
it, you burn like a passageway, so the fire can't leap over it or something.
That's, you're basically eliminating that fuel so that the fire, when it gets there, runs out of fuel to burn. That's what we're doing.
So- And that's under your control, usually.
Oh, the incident commander, the burn boss.
You're supposed to have the box under control.
Yeah,
I think my cousin was working on that fire.
yeah,
That's why I thought you knew about it.
yeah, yeah.
But you
Yeah.
position these lines in certain way, right, by the above?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Right. Any other questions? Thank you very much, folks. Great. And by the way, I think Jim was well deserved that award because he knows where Coleraine, Massachusetts is as well. I used to be the fire chief there, and he knows right where it is. I used to, yeah. I still, of course, I'm still away.